What is up, everyone? I'm Jeff Lund, and this is the Mediocre Alaskan Podcast, episode 99. I'm going to do a little bit of a recap here from the previous 99 episodes and refocus on kind of the intent of what I've tried to do over the last 99 episodes, going into episode 100, which I recorded with my buddy Danny Lear from Caffeine and Kilos, who's a good friend of mine. He kind of inspired me to do a little bit more with the writing rather than just write a column, to start the blog, start the website, start a podcast. So as far as Mediocre Alaskan goes, the intent was just to bring a little bit of humility to an ego-driven field and also focus on, the people who happen to hunt. You can identify yourself as a hunter, but you can't hunt year-round. You can't fish year-round. And if you don't take care of yourself, you're just going to be reminding yourself of the things that you can't do, and you're going to be living for that, that 3-week season or that, maybe 2 to 3 month season, which means that out of the 12 months of the year, if you're only looking forward to and you only feel really alive during a fraction of that, that's tough. That's pretty tough. We spend a lot of time as consumers of outdoor stuff listening to podcasts from other people who are experts who just get to hunt for a living, watch their shows, and follow them as they do. They live these amazingly fulfilling lives and get to hunt all the things that we might not be able to hunt. And that's great for them. It's amazing for them. It's great there are people out there who have been gung-ho, who have done the work, who have read, who have just gotten through the unsuccessful part to become a voice and become one of the faces of modern hunting or angling, and that's awesome. It's so great. But for the vast majority of us, that's not the life that we live. And so I've tried to, in the last 99 episodes, talk about a whole bunch of different things that, are part of the human being who happens to hunt. As much as we want to be hunters and anglers and identify as those, there's a lot of other stuff going on in our lives. And I think the idea of wellness is something that, we have to address, as we have to make sure that we are in the right mind frame, because it's important. If we look at our lives and we look at how much of our life we wish away at times, and I'm totally guilty of it. I've been thinking about alpine deer hunting for months, and it makes sense because it's January or February in Southeast Alaska, and it's cold and it's dark, and you just want it to warm up, and you can't wait to be on the mountain in the warmth. But you still got to enjoy what's in front of you. You still got to enjoy the steelhead fishing that we have, and then going shrimping, and then spring bear, and you have to do those things, and you have to take care of yourself. There's a big difference between being your happiest when you're outside doing something that you love, or being completely dependent upon that to be happy to begin with, which means that you're not getting much joy out of life in general, or the ordinary in and outs of life. And some of the people I've had on, we've talked about that and making the most out of the daily stuff. So that way you don't need to catch a steelhead to rescue you from a life that's otherwise unfulfilling. I started off talking about those episode 7 with Amanda David Schofer. We talked about wellness, and we talked about fitness. We talked about a day in, day out approach to happiness, and engineering that for yourself, and not chastising yourself, accepting where you're at, but also knowing that you can get better, and not accepting that lesser level or that lesser version of yourself. Talked about that in episode 15 with Anna Ulmer as well, and episode 14 with Sadie Case. And then the other aspects, just the community part of it. I like talking to Matt Hamilton. One of my favorite episodes was episode 91, with just the way that he lives, and he's not, I've never hunted or fished with him, he works out and he's an artist, but you learn so much, and he's the like-minded type person that you have to surround yourself with. And it's not like-minded in that you are a hunter, so you only hang out with hunters. You're an angler, you only hang out with anglers. Matt's ability to just be a good dude and a great representation of what a local Ketchikan resident is. You glean something from that. So your everyday life is positively impacted by that. And it's not just the telling stories about the woods or telling stories about this buck that got away or the buck that you got or what great switch you made or a great line or decision you made when you were king salmon fishing. Paying attention to other people and just the way Matt lives and the good that he does, because he wants that to resonate in the universe and it impacts him somehow that he might not know, and it's better for his family to do that. If we isolate ourselves, it's just not good. It's not good. There's so much more. There's so many more people that we can learn from, and so many other opportunities we have to have fulfilling lives that then make the outdoor experience even that much better. So we're not living at a 2 and then we go hunting and fishing and it's like a 7 or 8 or 9 or 10. Like we're living at a 7. So my life is good, and I get to go hunt. It's just so much better. And that's one of the reasons why I love living in Ketchikan, is because everything is so accessible. Everything is right there. I'm not advocating for anybody to move to Ketchikan. In fact, don't move there. But having stuff so close, you don't have to wait for the weekends. If you want to go on a hike, you can go on a hike before work. There's stuff on the way to work that's right there. It's right there.
After years of fine print contracts and getting ripped off by big wireless providers, if we've learned anything, it's that there's always a catch. So when I first heard that Mint Mobile offers premium wireless starting at just $15 a month, I thought, what's the catch? But after talking to them and using their service, it all made sense. There isn't one. Mint Mobile's secret sauce is that they're the first company to sell wireless service online only. They cut out the cost of retail stores and pass those sweet savings directly to you. For anyone who hates their phone bill, Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for just $15 a month. I was hesitant about having to get a new phone and a new phone number, but with Mint, you can use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and keep your same phone and your same phone number along with all of your existing contacts. Mint Mobile gives you the best rate whether you're buying for one or for a family, and at Mint, families start at 2 lines. All plans come with unlimited talk and text plus high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Switch to Mint Mobile and get premium wireless service starting at just $15 a month. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and to get the plan shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/waypoint. That is mintmobile.com/waypoint. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/waypoint.
And so you have access to that. Studies have shown, and I've talked about these in a couple of different episodes about, getting outside and how vital that is, and people who fish and hunt and how connected they are to the resource, and how, it can also turn you into an arrogant punk. There's no doubt about that. Some of the most disgusting, ego-driven people out there are people who, misrepresent hunting and fishing. And nobody's perfect. Everybody makes mistakes. But that's definitely out there. But therapies, and I talked about it in Betting on Yourself, episode 94 with Steven Ellison, who just graduated from medical school, and he talked about some of the entry-level medications have the same results for depression as just physical activity. So rather than take a pill for now obviously there are some medications that are needed, and medical breakthroughs have helped people for sure, but some of the entry-level treatments for depression have the same results of just being physically active. And we know it's so important to get out and do things like that, and it can be such an enriching lifestyle to go outside and to hunt, but we have to look at the entire year. There's 365 days, and what are we doing on those other days? Other than thinking about, the 2 months that we're going to hunt, or the 3 months or 4 months or whatever it is that we're looking forward to. What are we doing today to really live our life rather than just watch someone else live theirs? How can I take advantage of it? How can I live, the best life? So I might not be hunting, I might not be fishing, but I can still get a lot of enjoyment out of it. And that's where the fitness part comes in. You see a lot of the programs that talk about off-season fitness and getting fit for the outdoors. That you can get a great sense of purpose, because rather than being a passive off-season person, you're being more active, and you're being more healthy. right? And so you're thinking about the elk hunt that you're going to do, or the moose hunt, or the alpine hunt that you're going to do in August, and it's February, March, April, and you're training for it, right? So you're being healthy, and you're getting off the couch, and you're being active. And so the idea of you being in better shape for your hunt is impacting your life positively. You're working out, right? You're being fit. And those people, you look at Cam Hanes, the impact he's had, not just on hunting. Like, how many people are inspired by what he does and the fact he doesn't make excuses and he just gets after it. And so he is so incredibly healthy throughout the year. It's not just in hunting season. You don't think of Cam Hanes and you just think of hunter. You have to talk about fitness. You have to talk about workout. You have to talk about just this tenacious way of looking at life. And those stories are the ones we have to look at too. And we have to focus on those, and we have to be better. And this is men and women. This is what we, teaching the kids that there is value. Sebastian Junger wrote, and I've used this quote a lot, that modern society has mastered the art of making people feel unnecessary. And that's a paraphrase quote, but what is the purpose? So many people are falling through the gaps because I just don't have anything. And what does it all mean? I was reading an ESPN article about how after the Warriors won the championship in 2018, how someone made an observation that Kevin Durant was trying to find meaning behind it. He thought that everything would change because he won a championship, and he was searching, what's the meaning of all that? And that's what everybody's looking for. Some people try to find meaning in killing more animals. And, well, if it's not this one, it's got to be a bigger animal. It's got to be more animals. It's got to be, fish, brown trout. Who cares if it's, I've caught brown trout in Colorado. I want to catch a brown trout in Wyoming. And yeah, that's fun. That's totally what I want to do. I'd love to go to New Zealand and catch a brown trout. But ultimately there has to be something else because there's not enough fish. There has to be something else to it. We can't just hope that we can kill our way or catch our way to a happy existence. There has to be more. There has to be more to it. And there's some really interesting people that I've talked to. And surrounding yourself with those types of people who don't just, there's a difference when you're talking with some buddies and they're just sharing, about the one time, and everyone's like laughing. Like the friends that you want to talk to and the buddies that tell the hunting stories, they're just telling it just to tell it. Right. And, they get enjoyment out of telling it, and, they're laughing and they're remembering it. It was a good time. It was a good memory in their life. Other people tell stories to try to one up you. You can kind of tell that they're not listening because they can't wait till it's their turn to talk again. And they hope that you're going to be impressed by it. When people say, no, the funniest thing was, no, I have a better story. Like if you tell me, oh, I have a better story, you're telling me that this is just an ego thing for you and you want to tell the better story. You're just trying to one up things rather than just sharing stuff. And I don't like those. I don't like that. It just seems, I don't know. It's like, well, what are you doing, man? Like we're just telling stories. At the Thanksgiving table over in Klawock, when we're talking with Kurt Whitehead and Rob Stewart and Don Bussey and these local guys, these guys don't have podcasts. They're just outdoorsmen. Kurt he's a guide. He and Trina Nation guide, and so they have some good guide stories. But they don't monetize it. You can just tell these are happy people who love to be outdoors and just feel. You can't help but want to be that type of hunter when it comes to the stuff that they get into, and it's not about ego. They love telling the stories. It's just fun. And there are other people who just want you to validate them and listen. They have a captive audience and look at how amazing I am. And you get to sit here and you get to listen to me. And I don't know. I don't think I think it's kind of empty. And, I hope that as hunters and anglers and outdoors people, we can find something more in the experience, and we can do it year round. We can be happy people that aren't dependent upon epic stories during the hunting season to validate that we can then live off the rest of the year because we had a successful deer hunt, and we tell that story and try to live off that memory for the rest of the year. It can't be like that. We got to find something more, and we got to continue to help each other out. And I don't want to make it sound like it's some sort of like a therapy circle or anything. But I think we should check our emotions, check our motivations at times, and then do the best we can to be organized, to be healthy, and be happy. Right? That's ultimately what we want. We want people to be happy and have fulfilling lives. So it's been a fun 99 episodes. Episode 100 was great. Talked to my buddy Danny, like I said before, so make sure you listen to that coming out next week. Still down in Wyoming. About ready to go on a pretty crazy road trip, going over to Utah to hike in the Sawtooths and do some fishing up in there. It's a 21-mile loop type thing going on, and then driving down to Utah to go to Zion, and it should be nice and hot there. And then coming back through Colorado, doing some more fishing there. So doing a nice little road trip. It can be pretty fun. So call that episode 99. Make sure you check out themediocrealaskan.com for content and other things. The Mediocre Alaskan on Instagram, Alaska Lund on Instagram. And we will talk to you next time.